Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep into a massive disconnect in the American economy. We are looking at the widening gap between polished economic headlines and what millions of job seekers are actually surviving through right now. Because when you look closely at the data, two entirely different realities emerge. This is the hidden truth behind the U.S. job market. If the U.S. job market is strong, unemployment is low, and jobs are being created, why does finding a good job feel harder than ever? It's the question of the year. If you've been feeling this frustration, you are definitely not alone. And no, it's not all in your head. Today, we're going to use the absolute latest data to uncover exactly what is going on beneath the surface.
Part 1. The headline illusion. Let's start with the official story, the narrative that is broadcasted on the evening news and cited by economists. On the surface, the American economy looks like an unstoppable powerhouse.
As of June 2026, the official U.S. unemployment rate, what economists call the U3 rate, dropped to just 4.2%. Now, historically speaking, anything hovering around the low fours is considered a fantastic sign of a healthy, robust labor market. Honestly, if you stopped reading the data right there, you'd think anyone who wants a job could literally just walk out and get one. And it looks even better on paper. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the economy added 57,000 jobs in June. Meanwhile, there were a whopping 7.6 million job openings across the country in May. Millions of openings technically exist. The jobs are supposedly out there, right? But as we're about to see, this headline data is creating a powerful and frankly very misleading illusion. That brings us to part 2, uncovering the real numbers. To really understand why everyday workers are struggling, we have to peel back the layers. We need to look at the hidden variables beneath these highly polished statistics. Take a look at this, because the contrast here is striking. The official U3 rate is 4.2%, sure, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics also tracks something called the U6 unemployment rate. This metric includes discouraged workers who have just completely stopped looking, and underemployed workers trapped in part-time roles who desperately need full-time hours. That real rate? It's sitting way higher, at 7.9%. So how did that official rate actually drop to 4.2% in June? Well, it wasn't because of some massive hiring boom. It dropped because a staggering 720,000 people just threw their hands up and left the labor force entirely in June alone. The labor force participation rate actually fell to its lowest point since March of 2021. So the unemployment rate looks better simply because hundreds of thousands of Americans were mathematically erased from the workforce calculation. Wild, right? Which leads into part 3, AI and corporate restructuring. So we have fewer people participating, but why aren't corporations bringing people on board like they used to? Let's flip over to the hiring side of the equation.
Data from Challenger, Gray, and Christmas shows a massive collapse. Just look at this drop. Between 2020 and 2025, corporate hiring plans basically fell off a cliff, dropping by an unbelievable 84%. Now, while there is a modest uptick projected for 2026, the volume of hiring that companies are actually planning is nowhere near the explosive growth we saw just a few years ago. The doors are simply not as wide open as they used to be.
And when companies do make cuts, the reasons why are shifting dramatically. In June 2026, artificial intelligence officially surpassed general market and economic conditions as the leading cause of job cuts in the U.S., accounting for over 14,000 announced layoffs. AI isn't just some futuristic concept anymore. It is actively restructuring the modern workforce right now. And the absolute epicenter of this earthquake, the tech sector. So far in 2026, the tech industry has announced over 139,000 job cuts. Companies are aggressively automating roles and redirecting their budgets toward new AI capabilities. It's the hardest-hit industry in the entire U.S. job market right now, hands down.
But it's not just about job losses, it's about job evolution. According to the Strata Institute for the Future of Work, AI is actually expected to eventually increase overall entry-level hiring. But it fundamentally changes what those jobs look like. Basic administrative and data entry jobs, they're disappearing. Instead, entry-level workers are now expected to have high-level analytical judgment right out of the gate, because the AI is already handling the busy work. So the bar for entry has been raised significantly.
And this rapidly changing landscape brings us to part 4, the youth employment crisis. Because there is a profound generational divide happening right now in the American workforce.
The data from researchers analyzing payrolls shows a truly stark contrast. Over a recent 3-year period, workers aged 22 to 25 saw their employment actually fall by about 6%. Meanwhile, older workers in those exact same occupations saw their employment grow by 6 to 9%. Established professionals are holding onto their roles, while younger workers are either being pushed out or blocked from entering entirely.
And the quality of the jobs they do manage to get is drastically different. Take telework access, which is a huge marker of modern job quality. While over 43% of advanced degree holders enjoy remote flexibility, a mere 6.2% of workers under 25 have that same privilege. Stable, flexible careers are really consolidating among older, established demographics.
Which brings us to this incredibly staggering statistic. By the end of 2025, 42.5% of recent college graduates were underemployed. Think about that for a second. That means nearly half of all young people who did everything right, who went to school, who got their degrees, they're currently working jobs that don't even require that degree.
All right, part 5, the verdict on jobs. Let's pull all this data together and impartially weigh the modern job market narrative. What is the final analysis here?
We are basically living through an era of extreme cognitive dissonance. On one hand, you have the official strength, millions of job openings and low headline unemployment. But on the flip side, the hidden weakness is undeniable. Hiring plans have collapsed, the labor force is shrinking as hundreds of thousands just give up, AI is replacing entry-level tasks, and massive portions of our youth are deeply underemployed. So yes, the jobs exist on paper, but stable, accessible, career-building jobs are dwindling.
As we watch these economic numbers evolve in the coming months, I want you to keep this thought in mind. The real question isn't whether America has jobs. The real question is whether the jobs being created are the jobs people actually need. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the data, and we'll see you next time.